Bro, just read the first chapter of Revelation. Now, when I usually read Revelation, it was very tricky. All the imagery, all of the reflections, all of the different symbolisms and hidden meanings were quite difficult to comprehend. However, I read it again this time and I realized that it's a lot more practical and applicable to us than we may have originally anticipated. And the reason why is because Revelation is written by John during the reign of Emperor Nero during AD 95. Now, Emperor Nero was a crazy, crazy bloke, bro. Like he would burn Christians in his gardens as lamps for his garden, which is a bit crazy, right? So he's a bit of a psycho. And there's severe persecution going on in the church, right? And John has been exiled to an island in the middle of nowhere called Patmos. And whilst he's in the middle of nowhere, he receives a revelation from Jesus. And it's absolutely crazy because if you think about who John is, how what he's experiencing and where he is, all hope is lost. He's in the middle of nowhere. And yet Jesus Christ comes to him. And when John sees him, he falls on his feet as though dead. But Jesus places his right hand on John and says, "Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last and the living one. I was dead, and see, I am alive forever and ever, and I have the keys of death and of Hades." Wow. Do not be afraid, he says. And then what does he say to qualify that? I'm the first and the last. So he's timeless. He has the final say, and he had the first say. I'm the living one. I was dead, and see, I am alive forever and ever. Only one died and came back to tell the tale. And he says, I have the keys of death and of Hades. I find this interesting because if we want to go to hell, right? If you want to go somewhere, you cannot go into a house to which you do not have the keys. And he says, I have the keys to the house. Now, if we go to hell or to Hades, right, and we are spiritually dead, that is of our own doing. We have essentially taken the keys off Jesus and opened the door to our fate of our own free will and choosing. Because he says he has the keys. That's what I find really interesting. Jesus holds the keys of death and Hades. And I guess there's several ways to interpret that, but what I imagine is he holds the keys of death and Hades, and we have to take those keys in order to go into our demise, the place where there's gnashing of teeth and death and destruction. But what that also means is if he has the keys of death and Hades, and he's the first and the last, he will have the final say, and he can lock those keys, lock those doors with his keys. It's quite interesting. So Jesus has the final say, and he allows us, and he respects our free will so much that he would allow us to take the keys and go to our demise because he loves us so much. And I feel like that's an interesting declaration because true love has to be given freely. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot force someone to love you. Yeah. Revelation chapter 1. Good stuff here. Also, some more stuff. Obviously, do not be afraid. That's the one that stuck with me the most. But like, there's also the fact that Jesus Christ is the firstborn of the dead. John is on the island of Patmos, feeling dejected, but the Lord comes to his aid. And then you've got the Son of Man imagery from Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. And the fact that he receives a vision of seven golden lampstands and seven lampstands and seven angels. Um, And it's interesting because the seven lampstands represent the churches. So we have to be the light of the world, as Jesus says as well. Interesting stuff. Take care, bro.